Hi, my name is Naty Gonzalez, and the topic that I chose to do this project over is self-testing. So what is self-testing? Self-testing is basically quizzing yourself instead of just rereading your notes. It can be flashcards, quizzes, tests, covering up your notes and explaining them out loud, anything that you're actively trying to remember information. It's more of a hands-on way of learning and studying because you're not just staring at the material, you're actually checking whether you can pull it out of your own memory. Why it works. Self-testing works because it uses something called retrieval practice. Every time you try to recall something without looking, your brain strengthens its memory. It also gives you an honest picture of what you've understood and what you don't understand. Rereading everything makes it look very familiar, but it doesn't actually mean that you understand or that you've actually learned it. Self-testing forces you to see those gaps and fix them and check your mistakes, and also just looking over the things that you just need to review on. How I've used this semester. So this past semester, I've actually used it in specifically two of my classes, in my Personality Psychology class and my Criminology class. In my Personality Psychology class, I've made Quizlet flashcards and test myself on that using its testing category on Quizlet. Of major concepts and theories instead of just rereading the chapters that I've learned and cramming them all before my exam. It's actually helped me remember the differences between different personality modules without having to just try to memorize all of them all at once. For my criminology class, I've actually switched things up a little bit. I've used my digital color-coded notes using Word doc or Google Doc to type out my notes during class and highlight them and putting them in specific groupings, and that way I'll just I would read my notes, cover them up, and then try to teach my fellow peers out loud and test them on the terms and cases that we've learned in class. The ones that I couldn't explain or really know, I knew that those were the ones that I would have to look back at and review so that I could understand it better and actually remember it for my exam. Using self-testing in both of my classes, and honestly all of them, made me actually realize that wow, this actually works, since it actually helps my material that I learn stick and learn better, which would make me feel very confident while taking exams. Some examples that I used as seen is my Quizlet flashcards that I would make for my psychology class, Quizlet tests on Quizlet using the same terms that I would put in, as well as my online color-coded notes that I would just categorize them. It really helped actually remember and learn what I was doing in class. Some challenges I faced were, at first it was very frustrating. Honestly, it was very frustrating because you actually have to try and think and remember everything that you've learned. I've made the mistake of making too many flashcards on specific tiny little details. I would end up with 200 flashcards, which got very overwhelming. So another thing that I also it became very difficult was I was rushing through practice exams instead of just slowing down and actually trying to see what I know and what I don't know and what I need to review and learn and understand better. All of that made the strategy feel very tough at first, but after I narrowed it down in the flashcards and slowed down while taking practice exams, it helped a lot and made it very manageable. How I improved. Once I got used to it, I figured out that self-testing actually works for me. I started using fewer flashcards. I focused more on key concepts and grouping them together, which was very important instead of just focusing on tiny little details. I also started paying attention more to the questions that I was actually seeing on practice exams, and seeing the ones that I just kept on missing and reviewing those more often, which would keep me from wasting time on the ones that I already knew. The impact on my learning, self-testing honestly changed the way that I study. I stopped cramming before exams, I actually remember things for long term because these are my major classes, and so these are actual classes that I'm going to use in my future. So when I walked into exams, I felt way more confident because I had already practiced everything without using my notes. It saved me time as well, so because I only focused my studying on what I didn't know instead of what I already did know. And it overall helped me just feel better about my learning instead of just studying harder and taking longer. I honestly think everyone should do it, or at least try it. I think self-testing actually works, and it's for every subject: math, history, science, anything you can think of. It really does work. It helps you learn faster, makes studying less stressful. It actually shows you your progress, even if it's doing 10 to 15 minutes practice exams or just looking at flashcards, can make a really big difference. If you want to use a studying method that actually sticks, self-testing is the way to go. Thank you, and if you have any questions, comment down below or ask me in class. Bye.